Good morning, everybody. Oh, feeling a little tired, not gonna lie. But that is A-okay. It's Friday Eve, you know. It's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away, or whatever U2 says. Shout out to Ireland. And you know, we're gonna have a kick-ass stream today. Methinks. We've got push day on deck. Gonna hit these delts. Gonna hit some chest. Do our triceps on our road to big meaty arms. Who doesn't love that? Yes, I know my 2015 MacBook Pro storage is nearly full. That is okay. We do everything in the cloud. All right. You gotta push it to the limit. All right, so we got that. We've got that going. We're live, baby, and we're good to go. So we will do some banded work to warm up here, and then we'll start getting into our working sets. Last night, I was on good old YouTube. Also, YouTube just like took a dump last night and decided to stop working. So that was kind of wild. People online just like, what's happening to YouTube? But I was looking at some good old roguefitness.com, thinking of selling my soul to get the conversion kit to turn our rack into a functional trainer, which is going to be quite an expensive upgrade if that ends up being the route we go down, because I mean, for the uninitiated or people who don't kind of obsess about home gym equipment, Rogue in the last couple of years, I don't know, maybe like a year and a half, sweet nectar. Rogue in the last like year and a half has come out with their own version of the functional trainer. So Titan Fitness, or not Titan Fitness, Rep Fitness has their Aries series of racks. They're on the Aries 2.0, where basically what they do is in the cross member up here, they make it a lat pull down with a seated cable row, and then they have a cable system that either runs kind of inside the uprights or along the outside or along the inside, and then you have adjustable arms that go up and down, so then you have a cable system as well. And so Rogue just came out, or not just came out, again in the last 18 months or so, came out with their version. And to upgrade, I mean, fellas, we're looking at like $3,000. So to help a little boy have his dream rack, we're gonna need to really get this YouTube shit going and this Twitch channel popping to be able to afford that without my wife just absolutely murdering me. I mean, she would be very supportive, but it's hard to be like, hey, we need to budget, and the economy's not great. We need to continue to invest and, be smart with our money. And then meanwhile, I'm like, hey, let me just pull out $3,000 real quick on a gym upgrade. I mean, the argument there is, we don't pay for a gym membership, right? So if we were paying $100, in 2 years, it pays for itself, I guess. Maybe faster if we take like gas and value of your time and all of that stuff, but I don't know. That's gonna be a hard justification. I mean, the other thing is not just like the cable system and like the attachments and stuff, is I would have to change this from a 4-post rack to a 6-post because there needs to be room for the thing, like the cable system and everything to fit. So then the rack is gonna be out to like here probably. I know that this means nothing as I'm like walking towards the camera, but it's gonna eat into our floor space a fair amount. I would have to move it this way, I think, take these guys off the ceiling, these little dangly bits, and then maybe it would work, and then I'd probably sell the Titan lat tower. I don't know. It's a fun game of how much would I get for the Titan lat tower on like Facebook Marketplace? I don't know, probably like $1,200. And then space-wise, where would we fit everything to make this work? Because then I mean, cable system plus lat tower plus low row, plus it's still, you know, a functioning squat rack. I mean, that's not terrible. I don't know. It's fun to think about. It's less fun to try to justify the purchase. But maybe one day we will see. But anyways, enough of the, you know, little boy doing his Christmas list. Oh, dude, watch for Black Friday. They have, I mean, it's Rogue, so who knows how good the sale would be. But if they had a decent sale, I'd consider it. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, good morning. Happy Thursday. We've got, I don't know, 6:40-ish a.m. started. A little better timing-wise. Yeah. We're just doing some high volume band work, right? Get these scaps moving, little rear delts. Oh, warm these shoulders up a bit, upper back. Oh, all that good stuff before we start warming up for some incline dumbbell bench to kick things off. And yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty dumbbell-centric training session for today. So we have incline dumbbell press, some seated dumbbell shoulder press, we have some flies, lateral raises, and then we get into some tricep work. So we're gonna be moving and adjusting our adjustable dumbbells quite a bit today, which is fine. I mean, the dumbbells work really well. Obviously, there's the convenience that comes with a like wall of dumbbells, but that shit takes up too much space. So we're gonna stay true to our good old Iron Masters, which have served us pretty well for the 5 years or so that I've had them. I did see a guy on Facebook Marketplace was selling like a brand new set. And so what, that's gonna be 45 degrees. We're gonna want a bit lower, or is that 45 degrees? I wish that this had like markings on the degree that this is at, but 90, we'll give this a shot. See how this feels. But one thing I've been thinking of for like approach to training, and I kind of feel like a broken record, I've been talking about this the last couple days, is changing my mindset and how I view progression with more of an emphasis on like bodybuilding style training. So obviously as a powerlifter, right, you're chasing weight on the bar, you're chasing numbers, and that is your measure of success. Obviously bodybuilding is incredibly subjective, right? And not that I am like prepping or anything or like intend to do any sort of show, but just as my mentality towards training has adjusted. You know, chasing just a big number on bench or squats or kind of whatever the case is not a huge area of emphasis for me, right? There's, I think, maybe a misnomer that, and we'll go like this while I adjust these dumbbells. There's maybe a misnomer that, you know, progressive overload and adding weight is what's going to stimulate muscle growth, when really it's a bigger, stronger muscle that then leads to progressive overload. So it's kind of like a cart before the horse kind of situation. And there's a pretty big emphasis online on chasing progressive overload as kind of the end all be all. And this isn't to say that it's not an important 20, 30, 40, 50. It's not an important thing to measure, right? Reps, weights, loads, all those types of things, obviously incredibly important. But I'm more chasing stimulus with, you know, as dialed in technique as I can for the muscles I'm looking to train. So not, you know, being hyper robotic, right? And not getting any sort of fatigue or like slight breakdown as weights get, or rather as sets go on and muscles get fatigued, but more so like we'll use bench as an example, like not using a power lifter's arch, you know, like I was, to move the weight. Oh, say his name and he appears. What's up, Bowser? Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. 20, 30, 40. That's one thing about these Iron Masters though. These things are so loud. 20, 30, 40, 50. But, you know, when I'm over here adjusting these, it gives me the perfect time to ramble about training philosophy. So that's fun. 20, 30, 40, 50. There we go. Ugh. So anyways, you're probably thinking, MeatHaus, get to the point. So the point is, yes, progressive overload is important. It's important to track reps, working sets, load, all of those things, but I'm not getting, you know, obsessed on, hey, I need to, you know, if I don't add reps or 5 pounds every week or every other week to my training, that must be, you know, a crappy training session, because no one can add 5 pounds to any lift week over week over week over week for forever, because if you could, you know, 52 weeks in a year, what is that? Math people, help me out. I don't know, we'll say like 250 pounds to a lift, which is, you know, unreasonable. You could probably add, depending on your training maturity, you could probably get maybe 30 pounds on a lift would be great. So, yeah. We're gonna warm up with the 50s. Okay, not bad. Oh man, I haven't had this happen in a while, but my traps are quite sore from doing, shrugs of all things. Which, yeah, interesting feeling. Haven't felt this way in so long. Move this over here. There we go. Go like that. We can do that kind of angle here for our second set. I'm just checking our working weight on the day. Yeah, okay. We'll do 60s. Okay, so we'll hit another second warm up. And yeah. Again, trying to build big chest. Trying to get big everything, Swole is the goal, size is the prize. All that fun stuff. Okay. So hit these again. Perfect. Sorry, are we doing sets of 10 or sets of 12? Okay, we're doing sets of 12. All right. And I'm just slightly, well, I guess now I'm not off screen because I just moved the camera. Oh, check that out. We'll get working weight set up, and then we will take a slight breather, and we'll get into our working sets. But I am glad it feels like it's finally cooling down. We had about a week of, I'd say, pretty nice weather, and then it got really hot again, and we've been pushing like high 80s, low 90s, but now in the evenings it is starting to cool off, which is awesome because I'm ready to start rocking, matching tracksuits. That's the fit. Who doesn't love a nice tracksuit in the winter? Boom. I mean, we could even get real zoomed in if we wanted. Back up just a hair. Sure, we'll go like that. Check that out. Now that's production quality. You can see every pore on my face. Every little hair follicle. But, you know, I can't imagine many people live streaming their workouts have a, you know, nice little zoom lens like this that helps, you know, mix things up, keeps things fresh. Be a little more hashtag cinematic and all that. Speaking of absolute cinema, whew, One Piece anime. Sheesh. They're killing it. And I mean, the Demon Slayer movie apparently is crazy good. Little elbow crack, that was an interesting feeling. Okay. First working set. Here we go. Whew. Okay. Ugh. So, 12 on the first. Ugh. We'll go something like that. Again, just to, gotta mix up these angles, you know? Gotta keep it fresh. Also, some of you know, I usually, you know, I got a group chat with the homies, and I'll normally text the homies good morning. But today, one of our buddies sent the text at 4:55 a.m. of him hitting legs. Sent a picture of the leg press with 4 plates on each side. And he said, legs and eggs. So that was pretty cool. And that's, you know, before even I normally get up. I normally get up at like 5:15, 5:30. That was cool. Seeing him getting up and getting after it. Gotta support the friends, you know? Always have to love seeing the homies succeed. For sure. So, thank you, homies. Very cool. So yeah, pretty nice start to the day. Nearly the weekend. And yeah, Formula One this weekend. If you're a F1 fan, I think it's in Austin this week, which will be cool. Shout out Red Bull Racing. Hope they win. Whoever the driver is, I don't remember his name, but I know people are into that kind of stuff. Maybe you are. Okay. else we got? What else we got? Cool. All right. We will get our second working set. You know, I feel like on that first one, the last couple reps, our chest was starting to get a little scream going, and again, I'm not trying to do too much of a, you know, power lifter's arch. You know, I think a little bit obviously is okay in your upper back, right, to get kind of your scaps down. There used to be the like retractor scapulas. Now it's depress your scapula. It might be the word that people talk about. I don't know. Whatever. Let's have good technique. Smash our chest. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Whew. Oh. Man, okay. Oh yeah. We are absolutely feeling it. Which, you know, is what we want, obviously. Maybe zoom out just a hair. Plop it down. Drop it low, girl. There we go. And, oh, let's make sure this is still good. Okay. Everything's good over there. Everything is good here. So we have one more set on incline bench, and then we will do our seated dumbbell shoulder press to hit our delts. So two kind of primary movements to kick off the training session. Obviously one for chest, then we'll do delts, and then we'll get into all of our isolation work. So we'll do some flies, we'll do some lateral raises, and then we'll get into our tricep work as well for the day. One thing I've noticed is, you know, doing a chest kind of pressing exercise does impact shoulders, right? And how those sets and reps feel, obviously. But doing shoulders first and then hitting chest is like a pretty big impact on my chest and pressing training. So even though I would say my shoulders are more of a weak point than my chest is, I do still hit chest first. Because obviously indirectly you're gonna hit, kind of by default, a little front delt with some pressing. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna do some seated dumbbell press. Would love a machine press or something like that, but we'll do, you know, some dumbbells, and then just gonna fucking spam our lateral raises to really get some stimulus going. And obviously we hit rear delts yesterday. Sorry if that was loud. But, you know, just trying to make gains. I'd say we are. I mean, body weight wise, you know, over the last 7 months, we're up about 15 pounds. So about half a pound a week, which is a pretty slow rate of gain. Some of that's gotta be muscle. I mean, how much, who knows, but you know, let's say half of it is muscle, 7 pounds of muscle. That seems pretty good. Is that unrealistic? I have no idea, but would be curious to know what that looks like. We'll see when we cut down. And then obviously how much of that muscle are we going to be able to maintain when we cut as well will be quite interesting. But there's no plans on stopping this cut or this gaining phase for the foreseeable future. I mean, we're gonna push into the 190s, I think, maybe even like right on the cusp of 200. So we've got a bit more to go. And then hopefully when we cut down, we'll look pretty good, maybe a little freaky. But let's hit these first. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, I mean, kind of lost count, to be honest. The second to last rep, you know, we kind of got stuck like here, you know, and then grinded it out. I also felt myself maybe like midway doing more of an arch, and then you probably saw I like kind of reflexed my glutes to kind of realign everything towards the end there. And then obviously, you know, on that last rep, nothing. But, you know, I think a younger me maybe would have YOLO'd it a bit more and just kind of said, you know, fuck it, we got it. But the older me is saying, you know, we're still pushing intensity, and you know, we could have stopped, you know, maybe a rep sooner, a less intense version of me, but you know, getting things, especially on like a last working set on a primary exercise, you know, getting close to failure, not, you know, to true like, hey, I'm gonna shit my pants failure, but somewhat close isn't a bad thing. But on that last rep, you know, I'm training alone, you know, I don't want to, you know, YOLO myself into a poor situation or something that I can't recover from. So we called it there, but still, I'd say 3 very hard sets with some good intensity. Sorry, now I'm like whipping this camera around like we're in like the Blair Witch Project or like one of those Cloverfield movies, but here we go. We'll go like right there. Okay. It's kind of like I was saying, moving on from, here, I'll come back and I'll do pop a little squat. So just hit, hey everybody, just did incline bench, 3 sets. I think we did like 12, 11, 11 on reps. I have to go back and watch the last set. Or you in chat, if you're watching, let me know. Now we'll do our seated dumbbell press for our delts. Second kind of main exercise here on our push day. Let me see check our spreadsheet and see what weight we've got for today. Yeah, we're rocking 45s. So doing 45s. And yeah, 20, 30, 40. Take these guys off. And we will need those guys. Whew. But thanks everybody for being here. I do appreciate it. I am slightly off camera here, setting up our adjustable dumbbells. Here, I'll go like this, so that way people don't think this is a Hassan React chair stream. That's maybe a niche reference for people in their 30s and 40s who aren't terminally online, but here we go. So, setting up our dumbbells. So here's one with a 45, and then we'll get this last one updated. Oh, I need to tighten some of this. That does not feel super sturdy. 20, 30, 40. That's always fun, right? When you're actively, messing around with some weight and the stand that you have gets a little rickety and you're like, whoa. So on these shoulder presses that we have coming up, like I was saying a few minutes ago, delts are a pretty big area of focus for me, especially like compared to my chest as well. I think I have a, all things considered, maybe some decent chest development, but could obviously use okay, sorry, just texting my wife back. So as a former powerlifter, again, every time I bring this up, I feel like I'm that dude who was like, yeah, back in high school, I could bench 315 and just like never grew up and feel like I peaked in high school. And maybe I did, but I mean, never benched 315 in my life, so that's not super relevant or pertinent to the conversation. But what I'm trying to get at is, as a power lifter, right, you're chasing numbers on the big 3, right? Your squat, your bench, your deadlift, and that's your kind of sole focus and driver for the majority of your training. And how much weight can we put up? And of course, there's accessory work and things like that also is going to be kind of be dependent on your coach and how they structure your accessory work and your training. But usually your accessory work is going to be in service of improving your big three, right? Like maybe you have a weak lockout on your bench, so you're going to be doing I don't know, like a board press or something to train kind of that top end of the motion. Oh, Young Strong Atlas, what's up, man? I'm good. Happy Thursday. How are you doing? Ugh. But usually in a powerlifting program, right, your accessories are going to be in service of your deadlift or of your big three lift. So using like a conventional deadlift, maybe you're strong off the floor but have a weak lockout. Your accessory work might be rack pulls, right, above the knee to help with your lockout, things like that. And so kind of a lot of the bodybuilding style muscles and that kind of training can get neglected. So usually arms, delts, lats are big ones. Maybe some hamstrings as well. So I'm an example of somebody who got decently strong, but not very big, I would say. And so trying to change that, and delts, of course, are a big area of focus. So we got 3 sets, 10 to 12, dumbbell shoulder press. Whew. Okay. I'm good too, thanks. Awesome, man. Hope you're having a good week. I know I am pretty excited for the weekend. I mean, who doesn't love the weekend? But not that this has been a bad week or a long week or anything like that. It's just, the weekend's right there. It's so close. So I'm excited to finally get there. And see what the weekend has in store for us. Hopefully a little bit of relaxing. Hopefully things cool off. Next weekend for us is going to be quite busy. We have some Halloween festivities and stuff already starting next weekend with the kids. So next week will be busy. So maybe this weekend will, I don't really know. We shall see. There we go. But one set down on these. We have 2 more, and then we'll get into our accessory work. I do think we need to speed up just a little bit. I have some early meetings today at work, so need to try and get some of this taken care of. Okay. Oh, man, my traps are pretty sore, which is not either that or I did shrugs yesterday, but I wonder if I also slept kind of weird. Okay, second set. Here we go. So 12, and then 11, 11 is I'm thinking what we're gonna do. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then we will move this one last time. Yeah, we'll go right about there. Sure. We'll say this looks good. And perfect. Okay. Oh. So one more of these. Sheesh. Then we'll stick with the bench, do our flies, couple sets, lateral raises, couple sets, and then right into our triceps. And then we'll be out of here. Love a push day, you know? Love a pull day. You know, actually, I like most days. Legs can be a little hit and miss. You know, there's something about split squats that tomorrow I am very much not looking forward to, but we'll change our mindset tomorrow when we get there. It's like that meme, I fear no man, but that thing, and then it's, you know, split squats, that thing scares me. Ah, you get it. Totally just botched. Just totally dropped the ball on that joke, but you guys get it. All right. Last set of these. Oh. Oh. Okay. So, oh, sorry. That angle is probably right in my crotch. Sorry about that. All right, we need 30s. Move that guy. Get this out of the way. Oh. There we go. Perfect. We'll get the dumbbell set up yet again. Okay, here's one. And we need this last one over here, and we will be good. Okay, so we got our dumbbells, and we've got 2 sets, 12 to 15 on these. Ideal state, right? We'd have a pec deck kind of machine or a cable system, something like that, just to be a bit more stable. I mean, this is what we have, you know, dumbbells. So we're, don't say stuck with this, but this is what we got. And as a result, you know, I don't want to be down here and then whoa, you know, and tear a rotator cuff or a pec or, you know, just get injured. So I don't do, you know, much more than about 30 pounds on these. Maybe in a few weeks or a month we'll increase the weight, but you know, this is, I wouldn't say dumbbell flies are the exercise that I'm, you know, looking to progressively overload, you know, and get hyper obsessed about the weight that I'm using. So, yeah, there's one set. We'll move this around. I will say I'm feeling quite tired, quite fatigued, especially in my chest, which, you know, obviously makes sense. We did 2 pressing movements to kick this whole thing off. So makes sense that that's where we're feeling most of the stimulus and fatigue. But again, on these, I mean, I'm more chasing the stimulus of doing these flies as opposed to hyper fixating on like, well, I did 30s last week for 15. I got to do 35 and try and get 12, and then we got to do 4. Like, dude, there's no way I'm going to be incline dumbbell flying 60-pound dumbbells, right? If we're adding 5 pounds week over week, it's just not going to happen, you know? Not safely. Like, I would probably get to here and then just snap city. Snap city, meet, snap city, meet. And so we obviously don't want that to happen. I don't really have any other options in terms of fly type movements other than dumbbells, right? We can play with seat angles and things like that, but I'm more so, again, chasing the stimulus, right, of being kind of in this opened position, feeling, you know, the stretch, leveraging my chest more so for the contraction. I'm sure I'm probably more like this while doing these, and maybe less kind of bringing my elbows together to hit my chest, but I'm tired. After, you know, 6 working sets total of pressing movements before this, maybe give myself a little, not a little slack, but give myself a little grace on these. So, here we go. Okay. And there you have it. Our incline flies. While I'm over here, I'm just going to quickly set up a 20-pound dumbbell for our lateral raises, which I believe should be 3 sets, 12 to 15. So, really, ugh. Let's just check our little spreadsheet. And I was right. 3 sets, 12 to 15. Lateral raise. And if you know me, you know we do these hanging off the rack. Obviously you could do lateral raises with kind of the machine raise. If your gym has one, a few different techniques you could use for lateral raises with dumbbells. You know, cable lateral raises. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Oh look, hey, there you guys are on that screen over there. Hello. Got the stream house holding it down. Holding it down. Okay. Boom. And we'll gotta move that guy just a bit. So the MeatHaus family technique that's been passed down for generations is pretty simple. Take your dumbbell of choice. I'm using a 20. I like to do a little brace up against the rack. And we're trying to keep all the tension and stimulus on our delt. Oh, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll do this side as well. Oh. Oh, okay. So, oh, there's one. And, oh, got these like random hairs falling on my face. It's in my face. We'll zoom out just a bit. And yeah, we've got some triceps up after this. So 7:35, I'd say, we got like 10 or 15 minutes and then we'll be done with our training for today. But as always, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. If I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. So I'ma let the champagne bottle pop. I'ma take it to the top for show. I'ma make it hot, baby. Hey. Okay. All right. So we got our second set. Again, we'll hang off the rack, do a little bit of this action. All right, we're just trying to keep all the tension in our delts. I will say, your boy's pretty cooked. I'm not gonna lie. We've done a few sets of pressing. We did a couple sets of flies. Obviously now we're doing our lateral raises for our delts. I feel like doing these, it ends up being kind of inevitable that you get a little, body English going. But gonna do my best to just keep all the tension on my delt and just really fry these shoulders. So here we go. 3, 4, 8, 9. Okay. Pretty tough. Now we'll do this side. Okay. Ugh. Ugh. I just want big shoulders, Not too much to ask for. Why does it have to hurt so much? Oh, that's okay though. Fall in love with the process, not the outcome. Oh. So 2 sets down. We got one more. I really don't know how this last one's gonna go. My delts are pretty cooked, Obviously we'll see how this third set goes, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up with a little tricep action. So, but not bad, I'd say, all things considered. Yeah, we've got quite a bit more weight to go on this gaining phase. Really curious what 195 MeatHaus is going to look like. Right now we were 181 this morning, but that could be, I don't know, did I eat too much sodium or something yesterday? We're probably average weight, probably around like 180. So we've got a good bit of weight to go. Yeah. I know some people do like a pound a week. I'm more like half a pound a week in terms of weight. So we have at least through the end of the year. So what, there's, call it 10 weeks left. So we'll probably end 2025 at, I don't know, we'll call it like 185-ish, we'll say between like 184 and like 187, right? Plus or minus, 6, 7, plus or minus, a couple pounds. And then we'll evaluate in January, do we want to keep this going, or do we just hammer like a 12-week cut and just get that knocked out right at the beginning of the year? Or do we keep the gaining phase going until like March, so like 6 more months, and then we're closing in on like 190-ish, and then we cut down and see what we look like by like June timeframe and see how that looks. But I don't know. These are all future problems. Right now, let's get this last set of lateral raises done. 1, Ugh. Come on. Okay. So, 3 sets, 12 to 15-ish on lateral raises. Dude, my delts are fried. So, hopefully, all these lateral raises are gonna pay off long term. What's up, YouTube? But we'll see when we get there. Okay. Now we need to Tokyo drift our way to the end of this workout. So we have JM press, 3 sets going 12 to 15. Really need to hammer these triceps as we're on the pursuit of one day having I mean, 18-inch arms as a natural lifter would be, to quote my buddy Mark, would be banana land. One day. Obviously, today is not that day. And we're talking 18 inches cold, not like with a pump. I'm saying like wake up, flex, tape measure, 18s. Pythons! Ta-ta! I'll show you a solid snake. Okay. We like to have fun here. Also shout out Metal Gear Solid and Kojima. And actually, what do we want to do? We'll grab this. So this is 70 pounds on it. I normally leave about this much on here. And this will be should be good to go with this for our work and weight. I'll just, sorry, I just bopped the mic. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for you. We'll go like that. There we go. Oh, I just kicked the car. Okay, so 3 sets, again, in that 12 to 15 rep range. Ugh. Okay. There's that. Whew. Okay. So one sit down, and then I know after this I have some tricep push downs. So I'm just going to preemptively get this set up so that when we get there, we're not wasting a ton of time getting everything set up for that exercise. So this will be a quick adjustment for us. Again, just so, for the sake of time, because I do have some early meetings today, and yeah. Yeah. Whew. Oh. So we got one set in, two more. Two more. Also, again, thanks people for watching here on Twitch, watching over on YouTube. I appreciate it. We're live Monday through Friday, you know, about 6:30 a.m. Central Time, out here in the MeatHaus, getting our workouts in. So we're trying to build a nice physique, put some work in, see what, you know, some dedicated training can lead to as a natty lifter training in his garage. Ugh. Okay. Whew. Okay. Man. Dude, the skin tearing pump in these triceps is, I don't know. We are feeling it. That is for sure. Whew. Got one more set. And then we'll be good. Then we gotta get out of here. Okay. Alrighty. Chat, we got one more. One more of these. Oh, it's gonna be an overcast day today. Oh. High of 82? How could it be? Dude, the next week it's all in the 70s. Whoa. Trippy. I gotta text the fellas, it's ramen weather. I said ramen and snuggle weather with the boys. Ugh. Alrighty. Last set. Here we go. Come on. A random couple reps of close grip bench. Just to get a little extra work in. Hey, shit. Okay. Now, to wrap things up, we have our good pal, the lat tower. We'll go. Take this kind of an angle. We'll roll up the sleeveys. You know, there's a good joke. It's good dad joke. And it's, where does the king hide his armies? In his sleeveys. Armies in his sleeveys. MeatHaus, you're crazy for this one. Man. We like to have fun. Okay. Here we go. This honestly might be too much. See, but then the tracking on this gets all wonky. Maybe if I stand more here, is this better? Okay. Oh. Would a longer, because then it's less it has to travel. Okay, let's try that. Well, we'll keep it like this for this one, and we will see. Okay. Look at that tan. And then if we make this as long as it can go, will we still get bopped? Oh, no, that'll work. Okay, we found a solution, everybody. And we're at 7:55, perfect. Okay. We found a solution to our problem. And that, you know, in elementary school where they taught you critical thinking? Check us out now. What is up now, Mrs. Smith? Critical thinking in 7th grade. Now who's critical? Because we figured it out. Hey, man, we really got to work on this farmer tan, though. I usually walk the neighborhood, you know, get some steps in. We're pasty. We got some pasty shoulders. That's okay, though. It's about to be winter anyways. And everybody will be in hoodies and all that fun stuff. So it doesn't really matter to begin with. Okay. Oh, it just barely, come on, man. Okay, if here. Okay, we have to stay right here. Okay. Oh. Oh. All right, last one. On these lat pull down tricep extensions. Again. It's like if I was slightly taller. Oh, okay. Done. Pretty good upper body training session, I would say. You know, all things considered, not bad. Not bad. Got some good work in. Only took an hour and 25 minutes for all the exercises and training we got done. So that is a big W in my book. So really, really, really solid training session. Sorry, I know it's like the Blair Witch Project. I'm so scared. While we whip this camera into position, but I also have to get all these cords out of the way. So when I park my car, the camera doesn't go flying. So yeah. But anyways, I mean, that brings us to the end of today's training session. So very solid push day, incline bench. Yeah, incline dumbbell, seated shoulder press. We did some flies, lateral raises, some kind of JM press for 3 sets, and then we just did kind of those cross-body tricep extensions on the lat tower to the best of our abilities. A little bit of trial and error to figure out what was ultimately going to work. But overall, very solid push day. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, for legs to round out the week. As always, greatly appreciate anybody who watches these streams, you know, follows on Twitch, subscribes on YouTube. Really does mean a lot. We're Tokyo drifting our way to 100 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty cool. I think we're at 93 or 94 subs. I don't know. But really have been appreciating all of the support. I know there's lots of places you could spend your time and attention. Netflix, TikTok, other YouTubers, other Twitch channels, all that. So your support is has been fantastic. It's really motivating. Hopefully, you know, you all get a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of value from these streams. You know, doing our best to entertain and document this journey of a guy training in his garage. So I got to go have some meetings, got to get ready for work. But with that, you all have been great. We've been the MeatHaus. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Happy Thursday. Finger guns. Pew, pew, pew.